Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. You already know what time it is. I'm always sitting down with some of the best, brightest minds, but people who've actually done something in their life, right? And you've already heard the intro. So let's kick this thing off. I am sitting with the one and only Jodi Harrison Bauer is on the show today. What's going on, fam?
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. I was sick last time we were supposed to do this, but I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Sean.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I'm excited for this one because I know my audience. They always go through the show notes. They can't even make it through the first 10 minutes of this thing. And they're clicking, they're over on Instagram trying to figure you out. But what's so impressive about you, and this is before we even kick it off, is that you're somebody who is physically at a point in life where you look 30 years younger, which is almost crazy. But let's break it down because I think so many people from our audience right now, they're about to learn a lot when it comes to health, diets, how to look younger, all those things. But take us back to the young Jodi growing up. Where you from?
I'm from Connecticut, and the young Jody, well, we'd have to go way back because I'll be 62 in December. Um, so the younger Jody was pretty shy and was a big people pleaser. And it wasn't really until I got divorced in my early 40s that I started discovering who I was. And I was always a mom first and foremost. I have two daughters who are 33 and 29. They were recently on my podcast for Fearlessly Authentic, as I can't even say it. Um, uh, I changed a lot. I'm sort of a chameleon. I was very shy, people pleaser, and then I make the biggest change in my life, which is, to get divorced with two children and decide, okay, Jodi, you're now in your 40s. Who do you want to be? Like, you can be anybody you want. That's what I realized at that age, that I could be anything and anybody I wanted to be. First and foremost, I'm a mom, and first and foremost, my responsibility is to be the best role model for my daughters. So I went to a women's college after high school, and it was for a lot of reasons why I chose a women's college, mostly because my boyfriend was going to a school and all the relatives in his family went to women's college, and I wanted to impress him. So didn't get into Mount Holyoke, but went to another school in Boston with all women. And I think that I sent myself there to come out of my shell a little bit and to realize, I was lucky enough to, in a lot of ways, in high school, I was a cheerleader, that kind of thing. And I wanted to get to know me better. I didn't want to rely just on my looks. I wanted to rely on offering something to other people. I wasn't like brain dead, and I was like a fun person, but I wanted to go deeper. And so from there, I gained more confidence. And then after getting divorced, like I said, I was rock bottom, like, so no self-esteem, no self-confidence, nothing. And I had to just figure out who I wanted to be. So it was kind of an exciting time in my life. And I grew into this human I am right now.
Oh, that's so dope. Let's talk about it though, right? Because I think so many people may have missed the gem you just dropped, and that is the ability to kind of at any point in your life, no matter what age, no matter what you've been through, to be able to reinvent yourself. For our audience right now that's listening, who may be going through something similar to what you went through back at that time, what would be your advice on just reinventing yourself?
It's scary. And so the other thing I forgot to mention, besides being kind of quiet and a people pleaser, is that I was a scaredy cat. I was afraid of everything. As a child, I was afraid to jump off the diving board, always afraid. And I will tell you that if you're in this situation right now, where you're at a crossroads as to what you want to do in your job, what you want to do in your personal life, your marriage, your relationship, if something doesn't feel right for you, go deeper into figuring out what that is and really trust your gut, because more than likely, if you're not happy in a relationship, that other person isn't happy either. And if you're not happy with your work situation, more than likely they're not happy with what's going on with work too. So lean into that. And of course, because I was afraid, and so many of us are, to make those big leaps, we don't do anything, right? We become paralyzed with absolute fear. And I'll tell you from my experience, I learned later in life don't let the fear stop you from going forward, because it really is a very true thing. So if you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and older, it's not too late to leave a relationship. It's not too late to leave a job. It's not too late to start having lots of relationships, which is what I did after I got divorced. And especially you, the ladies in their 60s who think it's too late to meet somebody and have a relationship, sexual, intimate, it's not too late. Like, you have all the time in your life to do it, so do it. But you got to take good care of yourself,
Oh yeah,
mentally and physically.
absolutely. We're going to get into that. You know, what I like about this as well, though, is that you're known for also being fearlessly authentic. And shout out to your podcast, which I think is dope. But let's talk about like what it takes, right? Like, what does it really take to be your authentic self?
I think it takes to know who you are, to stand in your truth, to be your authentic self is to not, for me, is to not allow people who judge me to have an impact on the things that I decide to do or not. And that has been still the people pleaser in me sometimes, but I'm at the point now where I don't care if people like me or not. I'm not, totally immune to it, but if the haters are gonna hate on me, men or women or in between, then that's on them, and I finally have realized in becoming more confident with myself that that is on them and not necessarily a reflection on me, because at the end of the day, I have to be Jodi. So I don't know if that really answered your question, did
Yeah,
it?
it does. And yeah, think about it, right? Like a lot of people right now, when they get, people that dislike, hate on them, or absolutely might even adore them, there has to be information that you receive and there has to be information that you repel. And it sounds like for you, you've repelled a lot of the negativity and only embraced the positivity of what's about to happen for you in your life. What's also impressive about you is that at this age, right, as you're growing on with life, you also took on new challenges. What was it like for you to not only get your mindset right, but also your body? Talk to us a little bit about just from, from a body standpoint, taking care of yourself. How important is that? And what was it that you were doing to expose yourself to those experiences?
Yeah, I thank you for asking me that. I love that question because it's such a everything about it is so passionate for me. I've been working out for over 40 years, and I've been in training men and women for 33 years. And it took, and I did not realize this until I looked back, that what I was doing, I would bring the kids to school and then I'd go straight to the gym and I'd work out for 2.5 hours, 5 days a week. And I was lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom, so I did have that time. But what it took was discipline, it took consistency, it took commitment to lead to that confidence for me to wanna go back and continue to train. And I learned about eating. I'm also certified. I have like 3 or 4 certifications in nutrition. But I was learning from somebody I was training with, the importance of how to fuel your body correctly when you are training like that. And I wasn't training for a goal, I was just training for myself. And then while I was married, I wasn't allowed to compete in any fitness shows. So after I did get divorced, one of the things on my bucket list was to get into even better shape in my mid 40s, and enter a competition. And then I became so in love with it. But it was, if there's one thing that I can tell everybody right now, there must be discipline involved. You will never get anywhere without discipline. You can have as much determination as you want, but it's not going to get you there if you're not disciplined. And discipline involves being committed to the goal and staying consistent to reach your goal. So you always have to have a plan and a goal. And if you don't have a plan to reach that goal, you're never going to hit that goal. So I think it was, can't remember who said this, but a goal without a plan is just a dream,
Facts.
because you can't get anywhere without that, right? So at the age of 47, I decided to compete in fitness shows, fell in love with it, found that this was, I knew because I had danced for like 15 years. I knew that my body was symmetrical from a physical standpoint. But again, it goes back to how much discipline I had. I was a single mom with 2 kids. I was working And you know what? It was so important to me. The goal also has to be very important to you. You have to, and again, that's where the mindfulness comes in. My body might have not wanted to work out, but my mind said, Jodi, if you want to hit this goal, you have to go to. And I think that goes with anything, whether it's, a romantic relationship, friendships, any kind of work. Having a podcast, you don't have to do that, but you have to have the discipline to create that structure every single day because you want to have good content that goes out. So, um, that was my very long answer to your question.
Hey, but look, it's a much needed one. And I think, right, that discipline is key because a lot of people say, okay, what's the secret? What's the ingredient? How are you
Right.
keeping, how are you staying in shape? How are you staying focused? How are you, not falling into any of those limited beliefs? And I think it comes back to that discipline. And I also think it comes with a balance, right? For you to do what you've done, from competitions to, from Sports Illustrated, all these amazing things, right? Worldwide recognition. Like there has to be some type of balance, not only just from a mindset standpoint, but also just in your diet. So help us out here right now and just understanding like the balance of a diet and why should that be important to us right now and why should we be paying any attention to it?
All right, I'm going to answer that question, but I want to go back to the other question you asked me previously, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
One of the things, as I started to compete at 47, I lost two friends. They didn't pass away, but I got rid of them. I divorced them because they were not supportive. And it's really important, whatever you decide to do, whether it's fitness or whatever thing you do, you need a support system. And because everybody told me I was too old at 47 to compete in fitness shows. And at the age of 49, I won two world fitness competitions. So I'm a two-time world bikini fitness winner. And that was something that nobody wanted me to do. Like, no, I didn't have any support at all, again. So if it's really important to you, again, as I said at the beginning of the show, don't listen to the naysayers, don't listen to the negativity. Believe in yourself enough, and believe me, it is hard, but believe in yourself enough to know that you're doing the right thing. Listen to your gut. Don't always listen to your heart. Listen to your gut. That's the thing. That's your compass. That's what's going to take you there. So with training with these shows, I had to learn. I'd already learned how to eat well, but now I had to start really fueling my body very, very much. I was eating. I weigh 110. I was taking in 150, 160 grams of protein a day, but that was for competing and prepping for a fitness show. On a regular basis, we need to have the balance of lean protein in our diet, leafy greens, good fats, multi why can't I complex carbohydrates. I'm
Yep.
sorry, complex carbohydrates. And that includes a lot of fat. You hear people say no carbs, no carbs, no carbs. No, well, carbs are fruits and vegetables. They're not just starches. So I break them down: fruits, vegetables, starches. So if you can eat healthy and have that balance of eating healthy 80% of the time, and know that like you're going out with friends or you're doing something special, go off it, but always know to get back on again,
Hmm.
take it back. That's where people lose the discipline again, that they've got that balance of 80% good eating, fueling their body with healthy foods. And I want to emphasize, it's healthy foods. You're building and continuing and keeping that healthy body. And with that healthy body, you feel healthy and good about yourself, and then you look better. So it's feeling good and looking better because you'll get positive reinforcement from the people around you. But going from one extreme, trying different diets, it's not a good idea. Don't do it ever, please. Don't ever do it. It's not right.
Absolutely. And
And don't be afraid of carbs. I mean, my goodness. Like, and yeah, yeah, just it's old school. I'm very old school. You know that. Your dad was like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. My dad competed. He was a professional bodybuilder, and you're right. And I think that's the key. What's also interesting is that I can only imagine like the things you learned while competing, right? And I gotta ask you, going through, people saying, "Oh, you can't do this," or people saying, "Oh, I don't know, maybe she's too old for that." Did that motivate you to some extent?
A little bit. A little bit. I was really doing it for myself, for my own self-confidence. I knew, when you know that you have a special power, and I've always felt like I have special powers. I didn't know how they would manifest themselves. I didn't know when or what, but I knew that this was a special power of mine. I had something special and it excited me and I wanted to get better and better at it. So the fact that people told me I was old or older, like, on TikTok now, grandma, get off TikTok. I'm like, yeah, okay. Right. See you later. I'll kick your ass any day. So it's just, I guess it fueled me a little bit, but it was really what I don't, I do this trick to myself, really. I really amp myself up and I do weird things to get myself mentally in the game. It's just I'm sure you do this before a show.
Absolutely. Listen. So let's give away one of those secrets, right? Because there's a lot of people that look up to you out, without you even probably knowing or even trying. Like, what's one of those weird secrets, one of those weird things that you do to amp yourself up that nobody knows about?
I I distract myself from what I'm about to do because I know that I have trained well. I've put in the time and the practice. So I'll do something else. I'll text a friend, I'll call a friend. I'll when it was for competitions, I would be texting my daughter backstage. When I get ready for my own show, I am doing things around the house. I already have my notes. I know what I'm going to do. I might review them like hours prior, but I
Mm,
want to go in there because I already know it. You know when you know, so you kind
mm-hmm,
of like do a mind screw to yourself.
mm.
It's just a weird thing that I do. Maybe other people do it too, but I just kind of just say just go off and just pause for a while and then it's like you just go out there and you already know what you're offering. You know what you're doing. I
Absolutely.
don't think about it too much.
Well, I do like the fact that you are simply saying, "Hey, I don't even try to think about it. I don't even try to throw myself off. I'll text somebody else and I go out there and just do my own thing." Because what you're saying really is that you are catching the rhythm of your own unique gift, and you're not trying to stall it. You're not trying to do anything, unordinary. You know that once you go into flow, you are in that mindset. And here I am. For everyone's wondering, the only weird thing I do, and I don't think it's weird. I just think it's almost like a basketball player getting ready to play a game, and
I was just going to say that. I
it's like,
swear, I was gonna say a basketball player, they do their warm-ups, and then they're back there listening to their music, and then
yep,
it's showtime, and that's
yep,
why my show is live, so it's like, "It's showtime, let's go," and, when I would be backstage, and the guys backstage would be like, "Hey, Harrison, get off your phone, get off your phone, get off your phone," and I'd be like they're like, "You're on in 10 seconds, put the phone down," and then I just go out there and do my thing because you know what it is? You're right. If you think about it too much, just what you were going to say. Sorry to
yep.
interrupt you, but you can see how excited I got about that. That yeah, you already know what you have to do.
Yep, you already know. You already know what you're about to do. You know how smooth this is going to be, and,
Right.
and it makes sense, right? I got to ask you, Jodi, because so many people listen to this show, and I've had like some of the most unique answers whenever I ask this question. Right here, we are learning about discipline. Here we are learning about diets. Here we are learning about balance. But there's somebody listening to our show right now that is maybe they're about to graduate college, or maybe perhaps they ain't even got a degree at all. And they're asking themselves constantly the question of the podcast: school's over, now what? What advice would Jodi Harrison Bauer give?
I would say not to rush into anything. I would say to take some time to yourself to really figure out what you want because so many of us think that we need to go straight to college or technical school. I would strongly suggest that you take some time to think about what you want to do. And there is no right or wrong answer, but take some time because I think time is wasted and we could really, if we just find that quiet time and maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year of just figuring out what it is that we want and we don't rush into anything. That's what I would tell somebody, whether they have a degree or not, to just hold off and think about it. I didn't do that.
That's valuable advice, right? And so many people right now, guys, there's a book that I recommend that falls in line with what Jodi just said. It's called, Be Still. and that book is by Ryan Holiday, and it gives phenomenal advice, just like Jodi just gave us. Right now, audience wants to know more about you, though. They want to know, okay, where can they find you? Where can they see you? How can they get more of these tips? How can they advance their life and look younger? Just give us all of your social media contact and where we can find you.
Okay, so I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at Jodi Harrison Bauer. It's at Jodi Harrison Bauer, Jodi Harrison Bauer, Bauer. All right, should I spell it all out? JodiHarrison Bauer on all of my social contacts. And if you want to know more about how to have a balanced diet and just start from nowhere, if you don't know anything about food, I have my Jodi Fit 21-day jumpstart meal plan, and it gives you 3 days of 3 or 4 meals that you can rotate. It gives you a grocery list. It gives you what I love the most about this. And this was really something I created after Sports Illustrated, when so many women, especially after Good Morning America, and so many women reach out to me and say, how do you look the way you do? And that was 3 years ago. And so I created this plan, which I'm constantly updating. And I put a 21-day journal on the back because so much of what we do is in our mind. Again, it's mindset. So if your mind is set on, I need to feel healthier, I want to feel stronger, I want to feel just better in my body, start logging in the way you feel. That gives you 21 days to start creating a routine, which will eventually create a habit. So you can find that on my website, jodifit.com. I also have a fitness studio, Jodi Fit. Yeah.
Absolutely crushing it. I appreciate you for rocking with us today. And for those of you that have been listening, always remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it. Hey, what's up, fam? Thanks for watching. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. We'll see you next week here at School's Over Now What. And always remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it.